Ebusia Ghana de bia senfufuru esi na se de ye kaya be 3 days ni na parliament comment because by say daughter of a murderer sit down Ebusia sa comments ni buy no and there are a lot of responses from different quarters aba some from the quarters of the constituent of Clote Kole Dr. Zinato Admiral Rawlings one MP what they one concern aba the Annoh chiefs in the voter region Yan Papa, former president J.J. Rawlings, if you know, a petition IGP said by 10th of February, they want to know the MPR or make it that claim because earlier on, they pointed an accusing finger on Honorable Samuel Abu Jinapo said, on Okain, or be making it clear say, on Timin Kasa, on Kanye, Ebusuyan, Sabi there, the Annoh chiefs wants to know the MP who made that pronouncement on Parliament from the Speaker of Parliament, Ebusuyan. Same way now, Blakk Rasta or the response Abba towards keep quiet. The daughter of a murderer, Ebusuyan. You will come into details. No, make sure Sansan are not subscribing to Musika TV. But more than subscribing to Musika TV. Nothing to know. Or better turning on your notification bell for latest updates. I feel to know. Chihuahua Universe Ansem same year. Echo so Ghana Parliament. You know, I said there. This 9 Parliament in there. They be a simple for issue Parliament.
Are Angolan chiefs interested in this matter? There's a lot of unemployment in Angola. There's a lot of flooding in Angola. They have a lot of problems in the area, yet they are interested in this matter. Let's ask ourselves, why are they interested in this matter? It's so clear. You know it and I know it. Rawlings was an airman. That probably is the reason the Angolan chiefs are very interested in knowing the identity of this person who has meted out this disparaging remark. In their own words, let us look at this thing clearly. Rawlings was an Irishman and a Scottish man. We are expecting that the Scottish people would also come out and say that they are interested in knowing the identity of this lawmaker who uttered those disparaging remarks. Can I now tackle this issue? The person who called Zenato the daughter of a murderer, was he right or wrong? My brother, my sister, in the days of Rawlings, we suffered terror. Those of you who were not yet born in 1979, we saw horror in this country. People were abducted and killed summarily. We saw judges abducted and set ablaze, my brother, my sister, the mystery of which, my brother, my sister, is still pending in the clouds. Rawlings denied involvement, yet it happened in his regime. In the regime of Rawlings, we saw women in Kajetia market stripped naked and whipped in their vaginas. We saw people abducted and taken to the Gonda barracks and some other such barracks and shaved with blunt instruments and blades. We saw, my brother, my sister, people who were carried away and beaten, most of whom we were told were dead, and carried all the way to the morgue at 37. One of them finally survived. He went on to move into exile and later came back into this country to become a minister of energy. Do we all remember this person? It was all in the days of Rawlings. Can we run away from the heinous crimes of Rawlings in his regime from 1979? The several murders and bloodshed. And even at the time, Ghanaians were asking Rawlings to let more blood flow. How do you let blood flow when you don't murder people? Rawlings was a murderer. It's the truth. What are you running away from? So when people die, when murderers die, they all of a sudden become saints? Is that what you are saying? Because we live in a country where Atayi all of a sudden will become Saint Atayi because he's dead. Say no bad thing about the dead. That is your motto. Until we start to shame the dead, like they did in Belgium when Leopold II died and they threw his dead body right in the middle of the street for people to hoot at and spit at. My brother, my sister, crime and foolishness will never ever stop in this country. Rawlings was a murderer, my brother. When the elections came, Listen attentively. And listen, people were killed in the reign of Nana Akufo-Addo. What did we say? That Nana Akufo-Addo murdered some people during the elections. Mahama says when he comes into power, he would institute an investigation into it, and he started already. My brother, my sister, who do we say killed the people? They said Nana Akufo-Addo did because it was his regime. Rawlings was a soldier who went into a bloody coup d'etat. Bloody coup d'etat. Shot and killed many in order to gain power. Should we give him a bouquet of flowers for the coup d'etat that saw the lives of many go down the drain? Was he a saint? Was Rawlings a prophet? Have we so soon forgotten our history? The bloodiest coup d'etat that ever happened in this nation was instituted by Rawlings. He killed many in order to become leader of this nation. Is that not a murderer? So I am wondering why there's so much noise. And the coward MP who also mentioned it and cannot own up and come out and say, hey, I said it, and these are my reasons for saying that. That is the most cowardly, more cowardly than Bawumia. If I had the opportunity to stand before these chiefs, I will honorably ask them to tell me how you will define or call a man who murdered many in order to become leader, in whose regime innocent judges were carried out, including a woman, killed and set ablaze at Bondas, and say, why can't we speak the truth anymore? What is wrong with us? Zenator is the daughter of a murderer. That is correct. But does that make her a murderess? No. She cannot inherit the crimes of her father. Do we understand that? But that does not mean she is not a daughter of a murderer. She is. Let us call a spade a spade. Should we call Zenator the daughter of a pastor, or the daughter of a reverend, or the daughter of a saint? No. We saw the bloodiest violence in this country in the reign of Rawlings. Many people went down the drain. In my days as a little boy, anytime Rawlings' name was mentioned, we all ran under the bed. I was only 5 at the time Rawlings took over power in 1979. My brother, my sister, we have seen so much bloodshed in this country, all in the days of Rawlings. And today, if his children are being described as the children of a murderer, and we are crying, Anglo chiefs are all coming out, they want to know that these are disparaging remarks. What is disparaging about a murderer whose children are called the daughters and sons of murderers? Do you think that they would ever call the daughter or the sons of Kwame Nkrumah sons and a daughter of murderer? A murderer? Will they ever say that? No, because Nkrumah murdered nobody. In the days of Kwame Nkrumah, there was nothing like capital punishment ever endorsed by Kwame Nkrumah. They rather attempted to kill him several times. But even with that, he was still very tactful and level-headed. He never ordered the pulling of a trigger. In the days of Rawlings, the gun was the master. Soldiers were gods and demigods. When we saw soldiers on the streets, we ran. Some of you are so young, you do not understand what it was in 1979 and all the way after 79. We saw blood. I saw blood. I saw people shaved and beaten to pulp. You dared not say anything against Rawlings. Yes, thankfully, Rawlings also paved the way for democracy. But that does not erase the fact that he was a murderer.
It was a Blakk Rasta man and so Anglo chiefs no kwao. Wa man and so ho. Wasan so fire Honorable Frank Annoh Dompreh. Sa ansem yoko kama Blakk no for no no say aja te se obebia headquarters baby edu ho. And until Blakk Rasta chemu say busuya. Honorable is supposed to make good utterances that to promote unity and peace. Nemum enye otherwise. Yetie gumbe. Any some kesia. Blakk Rasta catcher Honorable Frank Annoh Dompreh. Baby obiano. When you score Blakk Rasta ontienu.
As leaders, when you have people with no common sense, who are supposed to be leaders, this is what you get. May I repeat it? When you have people with no common sense, you have people with no common sense of patriotism as leaders. this is what you get. First and foremost, what did Annoh Dompreh, this honorable Annoh Dompreh, say? In a tape that is in wild circulation, this honorable Annoh Dompreh said, and I quote, "Anywhere you see an NDC person and an NPP person fighting, join hands with the NPP person to beat up the NDC person." Is this common sense? Granted, there is violence. Some foot soldiers of the NDC are misbehaving, which has widely been condemned. But if a leader has common sense, he won't go up and say, retaliate. When they attack you, retaliate. You know what he will say? He will first and foremost condemn whatever violence it is and would ask for peace and unity. Rather than saying, when you go out there and see an NDC person and an NPP person fighting, join us with the NPP person to beat up the NDC person. Are they not both Ghanaians? The laws that you make in parliament, this honorable Annoh Dompreh, are they for only NPP people or NDC people are included? Now the people who voted you into power, it is possible that a lot of them voted skirt and blouse. Don't take it for granted that your presence in parliament is 100% partisan. In other words, it's only people of your party that voted for you. There are some people who don't belong to your party that just like you and believe that you will be a better NP rather than their party's representative. But that common sense is not there. Yet these are the people who are supposed to be the leaders of the people. These are the people who commanded the youth to move out and be violent. And this happens. Today, Annoh Dompreh, he looks heavy and well fed. A lot of the youth in his constituency are suffering from Koshoko. Go to Nsawam Adwajiri. There are a lot of people who are utterly hungry. They even look worse than refugees from some parts of Africa whose names I don't want to mention. You are well fed. You can afford to go out and incite hungry boys and girls to get out there and fight. It hurts me. I thought Annoh Dompreh himself would say that he will go out on the street and fight the NDC people. Why don't you bring your family out? You and your family come and join hands and fight. People like Annoh Dompreh, dishonorable, and Ahiagba, ask them if they know the last time they had a mosquito bite. Can I ask again? When was the last time dishonorable Annoh Dompreh had a mosquito bite? Yet the youth of Nsawam Adwajiri, the music they hear every day is the music of the mosquito running around their ears, all over the place. What point is Blakk Rasta trying to make? These are bourgeoisies who have enough money to feed themselves and their families. And if anything goes wrong, they will be the first to jump on the plane and leave you to your own destiny. It hurts, my brother. When I heard that comment, and he's supposed to be called an honorable, I shiver. The people of Nsawam Adwajiri by now are so disappointed in this guy called Annoh Dompreh. He was one of those who broke the tables in parliament. One of those who broke microphones in parliament. If I had my own way, this guy should be sent back to the gutters where he belongs. These are gutter boys. They are not MPs. They are gutter boys. No wonder one MP came out and said he is a gutter boy from Ashaiman. Do you remember that MP? He said in Ghana, later on he came and apologized that he had called himself a gutter boy. The real gutter boy is this honorable Annoh Dompreh. If you can go to the parliament house and break the legs of tables, muntutu, munyiyi, and you are supposed to be called an honorable, you should be bowing down your head in shame. And by now, you should go down on your knees with tears coming out of your eyes like the river Mississippi and crying to Ghanaians, especially to the people of Nsawama Dojiri, begging them for disrupting and disrespecting their integrity.
Blakk Rasta Sanchez say Richard Ahiagba or a communication officer for NPP. When you miss call, Effie Blakk Rasta, Honorable Ahiagba, baby, I will be ano. Blakk Rasta, it was special message. Emma, baby, I will be ano. Tino.
Ahiagba, who nobody respects in Ghana because he's another person with no common sense of patriotism. He also comes out to say, yeah, you know, what he said, he didn't mean any harm. It's because of the violent nature of the NDC attacking our members. He's only telling them that they should just come together and beat the NPP people, NDC people. I think it's okay. What is okay? Do you want a national war? Do you want a civil war? It's condemnable. The acts of some of these foot soldiers of the NDC, moving from place to place, removing CEOs and trying to be violent in so many places. We have condemned that time and again. My brother, my sister, what else should we do? You are getting your members to come together and beat NDC people. And you are in the minority, micro minority. You are like a drop in the ocean. You have lost all integrity in Ghanaian politics with your arrogance, corruption, one-ton corruption, and disrespect for the Ghanaian people. Nobody respects your party anymore. It will take you another 6 trillion years to gather again and make any meaning in this country. You're not thinking about that. We gave you the opportunity to lead us, and you led us into the gutters. Your own vice president told us that he was only a puppet on a string. He was only a mate, following the orders of a dictator called Nana Akufo-Addo. What else can you tell us? What else can you tell us? I leave it here. Please don't listen to people who have no common sense of patriotism. Don't listen to empty heads. The youth are hungry. They need food to eat. They need education. They need to be taught patriotism. They don't need to be taught violence.
Na busuya sansem ya Honorable Annoh Dompreh kan yi. Ya sebo. Na naba na mo so a special message bi and also a special reaction. Emma Honorable Annoh Dompreh say, Honorable, how could you? A whole Honorable, how could you? Abusuya na naba na mo actually nsem bi afa. And I say the bua nsem a Honorable Annoh Dompreh ekan no why pe say obehwe na wetie abusuya. Ensabri Honorable Annoh Dompreh be sure say uyo gidi ni a baby I will be an bomb man because in Annoh ekon so ne reactions ekon so no be je say ono ha when no so ka sansem na so tim meka e the Ghana for e be sro Honorable anka ni ye mo fan che no na esa de a abusuya gumbe ne reactions na attacks no yakọ too much say Annoh kura kum nipa nka Honorable ba say nka wa emra o nti abusuya sa read the Honorable Annoh Dompreh na no e nika san so na daughter of a medran sem no Blakk Rasta actually says yes, Rawlings was a medra. So when people make that utterances, they have not offended anyone. Into one must say Montias no. Ebusuya say mon kwasho po. Ebusuya on ne adwena so ne adwene. Chirawa adwene fa sansem say me ya Blakk Rasta account in reaction to the sit down daughter of a medra in some year the target Senator Rawlings no ehun. Annoh Dompreh so some kind no Blakk Rasta reacted. Sound so na Richard Ahiagba when you miss call from Blakk Rasta. I know it so no. Na naba na mo a or one sem de be. Emma Annoh Dompreh on some kind wa Blakk man no for no busuya. Na so be share wa adwena fa video you na face so be share na phone so nya bi ahwe. Drop a comment in the comment section. Don't subscribe ya, no subscribe. I am some for na app busuya. Be demo ABC ya. Stay tuned on this channel for all the updates as it comes. Bye bye.